to find. Here's that short, huh?
What's that?
Here's that short.
Oh, you're short. That's all right.
Oops.
Yeah.
It's okay when you're thin, but when you're not.
What's that?
When you're thin, it's okay. When you're not, when you're heavier, it's not that great. So
Yeah.
it was a mistake.
I
I was in
think
there
so.
going, oh my God, and then
And you just did it? Yeah. I like it.
at my age,
I think it suits your age. Yeah.
this is the longest running guest. This is Doc.
Doc.
The owner of-
I met Doc.
You met Doc?
Yeah, I met Doc a
Oh.
few times ago, yeah.
Okay, I'll get it out.
Get it out.
Welcome to the show, everyone, and happy Easter for everybody that's celebrating for that. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show in just a little bit. I have been having so much fun with my first guest. He's been on with me several times now. I have with me Gil Hacohen, and he is the owner of Lawyers4Less. Welcome back to the show. You have to tell everybody a little bit about you and why you did what you did to make everything so affordable for people out there, which thank you. You also wanted to talk about a couple of different areas today that you want to go a little bit more narrow and deep on, and why we're going to do that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carol. Great to be here. I started Lawyers4Less to give regular folks an opportunity to get good quality legal representation. I've told you before, in the society we're in, we've structured legal representation to help the very wealthy and to help the very poor, the indigent. If you don't have a lot of money, there's lots of organizations that can help you, whether it's the Public Defender's Office, a Legal Aid Society, or other organizations. And if you make a lot of money, then you have no problem paying $500-600 an hour for legal representation. I wanted to help the rest of us, the people that make a middle class income, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, and can't afford $400 or $500 an hour. And so I started Lawyers4Less, and it's been great ever since.
You know, I love what you just said. I wanted to help the rest of us.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a very large population, and a lot of people out there don't have the money to pay. And good things can happen. Well, bad things, I should say.
Bad things happen all the time.
All the time to anybody.
Yep.
To anybody. It's different than it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Now today, almost anyone could get popped. If we're going to talk a little bit about criminal,
Yeah.
we're going to also talk a little bit about family law. But in your practice, I wanted to get out that you basically cover many areas, and I wanted to get out that first.
I do, absolutely. We help in all types of areas of law. We do a lot of family law, as you mentioned. We do criminal defense, what I like to call light criminal, and we'll get into that. I also do personal injury. I do estate planning, which ties into family law. I do some immigration. So we try to help. Basically, if I can help you, I will.
And he says, don't stress, get a lawyer for less. You can check him out on his website. It's lawyers and then the number 4 less.com. He does free consultations. You work valley-wide. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. What we're going to do, we're going to do this for the survival guide, the DUI survival guide. We're going to do that for everybody. It's a little pouch that people are going to get. And, you know, it doesn't matter. You could go out for brunch today and have a little drink. I know an 80-year-old who went to brunch, and the next thing, they arrested her.
Did you
Which
say
is
an
not
8-year-old or
80.
80? Okay,
80.
an 8-year-old would be
Yeah, that's
a lot
not
of
even
different issues.
right. But seriously, this was an 80-year-old woman who
Yeah.
just had brunch, and you know, it just depends on who pulls you over, right? And they decided to go for it, and
Yeah.
guess what? That's really sad when things like that happen. It can happen to anyone. We're going to open up the lines to the audience because everyone's going to get. We've got this DUI approach that they're going to get. It's a DUI survival guide. God forbid something happens, you pull over. It's going to tell you what to do, what not to do, and what to do, so that you know you can give them a call.
That's exactly right. It's what not to do more than what to do. So many people just make the mistake of of thinking that when they're pulled over they can talk their way out of the situation. And the reality is the more you talk, the more trouble you're going to get into.
Absolutely.
So that's the most important part, is to exercise your right to remain silent.
So we're going to open up the lines to the audience, and I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show for this. I believe everyone should have one in their car.
I believe so too.
Absolutely. In the glove compartment, you pull it over, you pull it, you get it out, and you know exactly what to do. And also put this phone number in in your phone. I think that's another place to put this. So his phone number is 602-800-5762. Call in here throughout the rest of the show. Our number here, 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Okay, I want to go back here. You said light criminal. What's that mean?
So light criminal, it means assault, aggravated assault, a DUI, a misdemeanor drug possession, as opposed to, a rape or a child molest charge or a murder charge, which I prefer not to deal with. And it's not everyone deserves fair representation, everyone deserves a legal defense, but it's just not an area of law that I choose to get involved with. But if you got in a bar fight and got an assault charge, I can certainly help you out. If you got in a fight with your girlfriend, your wife, your spouse, your boyfriend, and you got a domestic violence charge, I can help you out. That's
and today, that's what happens.
All the time.
Right?
It's very easy to get a domestic violence charge. You get in a loud argument with your significant other and the neighbor hears you. The neighbor can call the police and report to the police what happened, and you might get a domestic violence charge.
Yeah, all you have to do is just push them. I mean, it could be anything little, silly, nothing, but they will go for it, and you'll get put in jail.
You will get put in jail. You'll have a felony on your record. There's a lot of long-ranging, impactful consequences that can hurt your future employment, hurt your ability to get into school, to apply for loans, and so it's important to have good legal defense.
Now, I wanted to ask you, during this COVID season that we've been having for the last year or so, right? People have been drinking more than ever. Some might be staying home and fighting, so this is where that comes in.
So domestic violences have gone up, DUIs have gone up, absolutely. People, especially now that the restrictions are being eased, and so people now need to change their habits. They've been drinking at home, but now they're drinking maybe out. And
I think what's happening is they might be drinking at home, and they go, oh, you know what, I forgot something at the grocery store, and they go out, and you know what, it's still a no
tolerance state.
No tolerance state. So the DUI Survival Guide, I think everybody should have it. It's a little pouch that you're going to get that tells you
Especially
not to do.
For Easter, as people are going out to celebrate their Easter, they might have a little too much champagne on their way home. It's a problem.
The number to call here for that is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I think everyone should have it in their car. You can check him out on his website. It's lawyers4less.com. He does free consultations. He's valley-wide. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. And you know what he always says? Don't stress. Get a lawyer. Let's go. Yeah, I like that. And, okay, well, let's go back into some of these things. All right. So, family law. Let's start with that, too, now.
Sure.
When you, obviously, people have been fighting a lot right now, especially because they're together more than ever.
Yeah.
Okay, but when to call you, right? When to have it, and what is the process?
Well, it depends on where you are in the relationship. It depends if you're married or not married. Do you have children or don't you have children? And that's going to all be variables in when.
You could even have a dog and have to deal with something, right?
That's true. I've had shared custody agreements for dogs.
I know.
So the time to call me would be when you're first considering making a change in your life, whether that be divorce, whether it be moving out, whether it be wanting more time with your children. That would be the time to call me and take advantage of the free consultations I offer.
That phone number is 602-800-5762. The website is lawyers4less.com. And what he's done is he's made it affordable for us regular Joes out there that God forbid something happens to you or someone you know. And that's what I love about my show, this information that's out there. I know we're not giving away a weed whacker here, right? I get it. It's not 1995 and you get all this stuff with it. But let me say how important I feel, and I really do, especially about the DUI Survival Guide. To have it there could help you out. in a time when you're going to talk too much, you absolutely know it, no matter what. It'll give you some of the things of what to not to do. It'll have his phone number right there. And maybe it's you or someone that you know that you give it to them so they all have it. We should all be prepared for, God forbid, we make a little bit of a turn that was a little bit wide.
Yeah, that's the number one reason, pretext to pull people over is the wide right turn. So watch that wide right turn. I should mention that the Dui Survival Pack also includes a free pack of Tic Tacs in there for that last minute
Little
fresh
drink.
breath injection.
Right.
But absolutely, that's exactly the most important thing you just mentioned. We get nervous. We automatically think that we're going to be able to talk our way out of it. It's natural. We get nervous. And when we get nervous, people talk.
Right, especially if you had a few drinks.
Oh yeah, especially if you've used some alcoholic lubricant. So it's important to remember to be quiet, to keep your mouth shut, and that will be right there on the card, in the DUI survival card, in the DUI survival kit. Just don't say a word.
And you know what? Here's the thing. You have to be nice. Everybody has to be nice to the cops.
Absolutely. We
right?
love the police.
We have to
be
be
nice
very
them.
nice to them. And you know what? All you have to do is say, I need to call my attorney.
That's it.
And you put it in your phone. And all you put it under, don't stress, get a lawyer for less. His phone number is 602-800-5762. We're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk further. So we're still live in here right now, so we're going to keep on going a little bit. Yeah, you liking it?
Keep going. Yeah. This is
Yeah.
great. I love it.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that right now what we want to do is just kind of go back onto maybe if you've been kind of mixing them up, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, do you also, right now, marijuana has been legalized. Do you deal with that at all or not really?
Yeah, so the fact that marijuana has been legalized has kind of changed. You're still not allowed to smoke and drive. You're still not allowed to, get high in public. And people think that because it's been legalized, that it's a free-for-all, and that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You still need to be careful. It's recreational, but I had a family law case where it was actually mom was smoking drugs, smoking weed with the kids in the car, and she was calling dad on the phone. She was saying, "Hey, I need some weed. I'm taking the girls to the lake," and da da da. And no, you can't do that. You can't smoke weed in the car with the kids, even if it's legal. That's a no-no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, especially with your kids in the car. I can't even believe that.
Yeah, needless to say, the court took her privileges away with her children.
So we're going
Rightfully
to talk about that if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
okay? And we are getting a call right now, so you're a little something. I love it. I love it. I honestly think that, you ought to think about what I'm saying. Yes, it's a funny person that came on, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. He's been on my show for years. And probably, not consistently, but kind of comes like you kind of do. And I've been telling him forever, just bring he has estate sales. That's what he does, right?
He does estate sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, bring it in and talk about the coins and talk about the part that's really cool about what you do, right? He finally did yesterday, and he got action. And
Really?
it was like, yeah.
What did he bring in?
Okay, so fishing lures.
Okay, yeah, people love their fishing lures. Yeah, that's a thing.
And I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I had some and I
Like
sold them on
$1,000.
eBay. People, wow, $1,000?
For ones that are in mint condition that he found, and we opened it up. I'm like, oh my god! But they were in mint condition.
Wow.
He brought in a handgun that
Wow.
was never shot
Never
before.
shot. Wow.
Never shot
Yeah.
before. He said it wasn't worth that much, but it was about $500. There was he brought in baseball cards, and that's really big right now.
Is it? Baseball
Coins
cards?
and
Really?
coins.
Coins.
I gave
Coins
him.
are huge
I
right
knew
now.
he was coming in, and I gave him my coin that I had that somebody gave me. That we were talking about buying gold because he was on my show for a couple of years, and everybody, you need to buy gold. You need to buy gold. And so one day he gave me this coin. So I've had it years, and he said, "Oh yeah, this thing's worth like $75." I'm like, "Oh my god!
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it somewhere special now."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, here we go. I'll talk to you afterwards, Gordon.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Gil Hacohen, and he is the owner of Lawyers4Less. Lawyers4Less, and the reason why is because us regular Joes need good representation, quality good representation. That's what you're all about.
And that's the key. And feel free to look me up online. My reviews are excellent. I get very good results from my clients in whatever area of law that they need help with. A lot of times when you go to a higher priced attorney, you'll barely, if ever, speak to an actual attorney. You'll speak to their paralegal or their secretary. They'll still bill you at a tremendous hourly rate, but it's rare to be able to actually talk to the attorney. If you call me, you'll always talk to an attorney, whether it's me or one of my associates, and if you're my client, you also get my cell phone, so I'm always available.
And you've made it incredibly affordable so that us regular Joes can have that kind of representation
That's the key.
and not have to go bankrupt for that. You know, God forbid something happens, and it can happen to anybody. We were talking about
It's
that.
very easy to sue people in this country. You can sue people for just about anything. And guess what? If you're the defendant in a lawsuit, you still have to pay to defend the lawsuit.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You have no choice.
Right.
Otherwise, the other side wins with a default judgment.
Sure.
And so I do handle civil litigation cases. I handle a lot of contract disputes, and whether it's on the plaintiff side or the defendant side. But the idea here is to not go bankrupt, to defend yourself against
Right.
what may be an invalid or frivolous claim.
Right. Now, his phone number, put it in your phone. You want to put it under lawyer? You want to put it under Lawyers for Less? You want to put it under Don't Stress? Get a lawyer for less. It's 602-800-5762. His website is lawyers4less.com. And we're going to keep our lines open here for the rest of the show. And I think everyone should call in and get this. It's a little DUI survival. We're calling it a pouch, a guide, or whatever you want to call. So God forbid something happens. And I was thinking about this as you were talking just now. And that is that, you know, it's a great day, Friday. And it's a light day. So and a lot of people right now are thinking where they want to have a drink tonight.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's also a holiday weekend. It is Sunday, Easter Sunday coming up, and a lot of people like to have brunch, and a lot of people like to have champagne. We've also been talking a little bit about marijuana, that it's become legal, and yet there's certain laws to that too. It's not a free-for-all, like you said.
Right.
So I believe that everybody should have, especially today. You know, I know people, and I'm going to say this, that right now, because of my age group, they're buying it like it's like candy. Right?
What, the marijuana?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're so excited.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Not me.
Hey.
I'm under
Sounds
FCC
good.
rules. I
Oh,
am not.
yeah.
No.
All right.
But honestly, I know people that are so excited, and they're buying it, and they're doing things. And like I said, I was asking somebody that I know, you know, what would happen if you went to the market like that? You know, you just thought, you know, I'm just going to have a little bit. And
Yeah.
no, you could really get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so it isn't a free-for-all like we just said. Just because marijuana is legal, you're not allowed to drive and smoke or eat edibles. There's so many ways to take marijuana now, right? So you need to really be careful if you're going to indulge. You need to do it as if it was alcohol. You need to stay home, be safe, don't drive, don't be around children, and certainly don't do it around the children.
Right,
Because
don't.
you could lose your parental rights if you do.
And also, let me tell you this too. You could just have it in your purse or somewhere in your car, in your glove box or whatever. Guess what? They could, you know, if you got, it just depends. It could happen.
Yeah, well, if you have it, you're allowed to possess it now. It's legal to be in possession, but it's not if you.
How much of it?
Right. So you're allowed to have up to an ounce in possession. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you're allowed to smoke it and then drive a car or
Well, if you
do
went to
that.
the
So-
dispensary and you bought, like, you were so excited and you bought like a bunch of it just because you wanted it, maybe you were going to give some of it to friends or whatever. People do this. I know they do.
Absolutely, but you know, when you go to the dispensary, they give it to you in a sealed bag. It remains sealed. and that's
Right,
how
but
it
guess
should
what
be while you're in
happens?
the car.
Exactly, because guess what happens?
Yeah.
You get in the car, you
wanna
open it.
see what you want to see your new toys. Sure, you open it up. That's a no. You shouldn't do that.
So his phone number is 602-800-5762. Get the DUI Survival Kit. This is a little pouch. This is a little something that you'll have in your car that is going to make sure that you don't do things that you should definitely not do. And the number to call here for that is 602-277-5369.
Absolutely. And I think what we wanted to talk about was the family law issue, because it is a holiday weekend. And we do have situations where moms are away from their kids or dads are away from their kids, and that's sad. And there's ways to help you spend more time with your children. A lot of people think that just because it's been one way, it needs to stay that way. And the truth is that circumstances change, situations change, and there are ways to help you get more parenting time with their children.
Parenting time is important. Money is important.
Yeah.
And a lot of people right now are suffering, right? And they don't have money.
Yes.
And so they deserve their alimony. They obviously deserve their child support.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask you, just because you brought that up like that, let's say somebody hadn't gotten their alimony for a while because they said, oh, well, COVID, I lost my job and this and that. Can they go to court to make sure that they get it? How do they do that?
Yes. So there's legal processes to do it. You file a petition with the court to enforce the order that awarded you the alimony or awarded you the child support. And unfortunately, you have to go back to court. A lot of these family law cases perpetually end up back in court because one or the other parent doesn't fulfill their obligations, whether it's for with their kids or whether it's to pay child support. And as I mentioned, sometimes circumstances change. So on the other side of the coin, what if you lost your job but you still have this child support that you have to pay every month, but now you're making significantly less money? You want to modify that child support order, so you have to go back to court. And I help you do that at an affordable rate.
That's what he's all about. Everything that he does is incredibly affordable. You got to check him out. It's lawyers, the number 4less.com. His phone number, put it in your phone at 602-800-5762. Call in here, get that DUI survival pouch, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have it in your car. You're going to feel better about having it because it's going to have all the information there. You also said mints as well. God forbid, you're doing anything that you shouldn't be doing there right there while you're driving. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. He's valley-wide, and he does free consultations. And if anything is going on, whether it's you or someone that you know, give him a call and let him talk to you and find out how he can help.
I appreciate that. I'd love to help. I do offer the free consultations, which a lot of attorneys don't, so feel free to give me a call. Don't stress. Get a lawyer for less.
Family law, I want to go back to something really quickly.
Let's go back to it.
Okay? Non-negotiable. I want to talk about...
Everything's negotiable.
Is it?
Everything's
Well, let me ask you something, okay? So let's say somebody had been married and they didn't get their alimony for a while, and yet on their decree, it does say non-negotiable. Is that non-negotiable forever or what?
So spousal maintenance, if it says that you're not entitled to spousal maintenance, then you waive that right forever. So it's important in advance to be aware whether or not you're entitled to spousal maintenance. And I have had many cases where one party thinks they shouldn't get spousal maintenance, and the reality is they're entitled to it. And if you waive your right to spousal maintenance, that is one of those things that you have waived forever.
So, but what happens if it says that he has to pay that to you, and that's non-negotiable? Does that ever happen?
So if the order says that he owes you spousal maintenance, then he owes you spousal maintenance.
Forever?
Well, it's not forever. Usually there's a time cap on
No, I
spousal
meant,
maintenance.
okay. Well, I was just saying, if you might have your decree handy,
If
you might want to
so if you didn't get your spousal maintenance, and for 10 years ago, you could take him back to court and ask for your spousal maintenance.
That's exactly what I was looking
Yes.
for, because there's a lot of people out there like that.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you have to make sure that the decree does say certain things,
Correct.
and that's where you come in.
Yes.
So I'm saying these things for people to think.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I'm doing
I
that.
had a case recently where the decree said that husband was supposed to pay wife's health insurance until she was 65. Several years went by and he didn't pay. She didn't think she could afford a lawyer to take him back to court. We consulted. I told her that he owed her a significant amount of money. She ended up taking him back to court, and she got all the back insurance.
Isn't that cool? And I say this, that it's cool, because listen, there's a lot of people out there that, we just say, well, forget it, I'm never going to get that. And of course, if I do, I'd have to take him to court, and I can't afford that. Now you can. And that's what I'm telling everybody out there listening to this great information that you hear on this show. Maybe it is you that's listening right now. Maybe it's someone that you know. You can tell them about it, and they might just love you forever, because now they can afford something that they never thought they could before. And that's kind of how I do things too.
Yeah.
And so we want you to put his number in your phone. The phone number to call is 602-800-5762. I'll do that again. 602-800-5762. It's lawyers, the number 4less.com. Call in here and get this DUI survival guide. I believe everybody should have it.
Are we still live on the Facebook?